Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by JL Financial Solutions. If you're an Albertan looking to plan your financial future, you want someone you can trust. Together with Sun Life's estate and financial planning services, JL Financial Solutions will develop a plan you can be confident in to grow and protect your wealth. Give Jonathan Lambert and his team a call at 780-733-0910.
What's going on, folks? Just a few more sleeps and the Stanley Cup final will be underway. Oilers, Florida Panthers, the team hopping on a plane tomorrow. So am I. And we're going to head down to Florida to get this thing going. Welcome to Got Your Back, presented by Sherwood Buick GMC. Rob Brown and Jason Strudwick are standing by. Steve Taylor is at the controls as well. And tonight we're going to involve you in a different way. So for those of us joining us on the live stream, bring your best comments and questions. You're going to be part of this podcast, this show, this live stream tonight as well. Coming at you from our long shot studio here in Sherwood Park. A reminder, all Oiler game nights during the playoffs, all you can eat wings, $25 a person. Visit Long Shots in Sherwood Park. Play a little golf, eat a few wings, watch a little hockey. It's a great spot. As I mentioned, this show proudly presented by our fantastic title sponsor, Sherwood Buick GMC, where last month they knocked it out of the park, given the GM President's Club Award. That's awarded to the top 50 GM dealerships in Canada. So if you or anyone you know is in the market for a new or a used vehicle, go see Phil and his great staff at 10 Auto Mall Road, just off Baseline Road on the way into Sherwood Park. Big, beautiful dealership. Have everything you need. Awesome. They've got stuff in stock. If you want to go for a test drive, they've got vehicles for you to test drive. I've got the Sierra 1500 Elevation. Amazing truck. Highly recommend you go see Phil and the crew at Sherwood Buick GMC. All right, let's check in with the crew. We got Steve Taylor at the controls. We got Robbie Brown. And we got Mr. Worldwide, Jason Strudwick, fresh off his podcast world tour, Overdrive, Spittin' Chicklets, Jay Onright Show, Donnie and Dolly. I think he just did a podcast out in Florida. Struddy, you're for hire. You're a gun for hire these days, bud.
Well, I've said it before, a rash that won't go away.
Do you have an agent? Like, who's managing all these requests?
Yeah, no one. I just do it. I just couldn't. I got nothing but time. Nothing but time. When the kids are in school, it's great.
Brownie, did you catch this clown on Spittin' Chicklets dismantling Ryan Whitney?
I didn't. One of us has a real job during the day. When he's off all day long, I'm actually working and teaching all the kids how to back check and skate hard and work and stuff like that. No, I did not see it. I did hear about it though. It's the talk of town. Everyone's talking about Struds.
It's a pretty aggressive approach you took to being a guest on their program, Struds. Pretty aggressive guest.
Well, I did invite myself, right? So there's a lot of pent up anger I released, and I look at it this way: you got to shoot first, right? Because you're going to get some. So
that's true.
Come out firing first, get the first shot across the bow, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. Well, you fired a couple shots at me on Onright's show, so considering. I kind of paved the way for that whole deal that I'm watching with my family. I'm like, oh, look, Uncle Jason's going to be on Uncle Jay's show. And everybody gathered around. And then all of a sudden, all the talk is about how soft I am.
To be fair, I didn't bring it up. I didn't want to bring it up. But since he did, I have to speak the truth, right? That's my job.
Exactly have my back, Brownie. He did not exactly have my back.
What did I say?
Fame has changed you, Struts. Fame has changed you.
I said to you that I said he doesn't stretch, have a regular stretching routine. He can barely bend over to grab his bag, much less touch his toes. Am I wrong?
Well, that's not all you said. I think the other thing you said was the question Jay posed was, how do you think Ryan is going to handle the travel in this series? And you were like, it is not going to go well, was the first thing out of your face.
I know, but then I think,
But in Struts' defense here, I mean, you struggled with the hour flight to Vancouver in first class.
Yeah.
You did.
True.
Sometimes it writes itself. Like the worst part about that is I didn't have to make anything up. Yeah. That's what bothers me. I like stretching the truth a lot. And with you, I don't hate you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, just so you know, Struds, I'm getting ready here. I'll kind of show you. I'll lean back and show you, but I got the ice bag on the bad knee. So I'm getting myself all prepped and ready for tomorrow. I'm going to be 100% tomorrow morning, bud. When that car arrives here to pick me up, it's nothing but positive energy and a picture of health from me.
You are making it too easy for Struds. Like, seriously, make him earn the things that he says about you. You're just like, here you go, Struds. Look at me with an ice pack while I do a podcast.
Like, what did you do to your knee is sore?
I overdid it in a workout.
On the elliptical, which elliptical isn't even a machine to work out on.
One of my just, I can't work out like I'm 18 anymore, guys. As much as I might want to. I don't have that in me anymore. I got to act a little more my age, so I got to dial it back.
Stretch.
What are you, 73? Like, seriously.
Honestly, I literally woke up one day and my knee hurt, and I have no idea why. So now I'm icing it. Okay, listen. Here's Steve Taylor. So we want to have a little bit more interaction on this show, right? We're between games. We don't have a game to talk about. We're going to preview the series. We're going to have a ton of fun. I had a one-on-one with Connor McDavid today. We're going to play that a little bit later and take a lap. Ask us anything. We'll involve you as well. But Steve, in Kelowna, you are monitoring the comments coming in on the YouTube live stream.
You bet.
When you have something that you feel is worth contributing mid-show, you're going to pop up in your little box there, and you will have the floor. So usually we just ask people to contribute for Ask Us Anything, but Steve, we can get a little more involved. Now, did you pop in because you have something to add already?
I did.
Is it by chance a chirp at me? Because if it is, you can just go ahead and turn yourself back into the fist.
It's a chirp, but it's not directed at you. And it just made me, well, first of all, a lot of love for Struds on Spittin' Chicklets, people saying he was just hilarious. So that came from a lot of people, but it made me laugh. Quaddy came in and said, Rob, teaching back checking, ? And then Obelisk chimes in and says, back checking skating hard. Does Brownie work at the School of Irony?
Mark that down for play of the day. Struddy, remember that one for play of the day.
There. This made me laugh. So I'll see myself out here.
I gotta be honest, it was tongue in cheek. Seriously, I'm not teaching anyone how to back check. There's no money in defense. Come on now.
Yeah, that's
seriously.
True. That's true. All right, gents, let's break down a series brought to you by Adrenaline Diesel, Edmonton's heavy-duty diesel truck repair shop. They perform services from oil changes to engine swaps, overhauls, modified engine work as well. The crew at Adrenaline are there to get your truck or trailer in great shape like it's right out of the factory. Drop in or check them out online at adrenalinediesel.ca. Lots of different elements of this series that we're going to dig into tonight, guys. But I think the best place to start is kind of power on power and what the top end of this matchup is going to look like. Connor McDavid had a media availability today, talked a little bit about the matchup and a little bit about the series. We'll hear more from him in a little bit. But a lot of talk today, Struds, about McDavid versus Barkov. I would submit it as much McDavid versus Ekblad and Forsling as it's going to be McDavid versus Barkov. But the Florida Panthers have the type of players who can, put up a pretty darn good defensive fight against Connor McDavid here. Of the challenges that he has seen so far in these playoffs, is this the most formidable from a defensive standpoint, do you think?
Are you talking center on center? Or are you talking about?
Well, honestly, but the combination, like, think about it. They're going to be able to have that pairing out there whenever they want against them on home ice, and then Barkov potentially as well. So you've got Forsling in particular has played heavy minutes against the other team's best.
Yeah, he's a good player, and it's incredible to think you just got him on waivers. Florida picked him up on waivers, which is mind-blowing. I really like Heiskanen. Now, part of that is probably because I see him more often than I see Gustav Forsling, if I'm being fair. But I would take Barkov off any center, even over Rupe Hintz. But Rupe is pretty good, although he probably was 100%. So that being said, I don't know. It's going to be pretty close because I take Heiskanen over their D. I'd take Barkov over, but I think the D ultimately have a big impact because they're out there a ton. There's two of them, so I'd probably go with Dallas's D over top of Florida. So, yeah, I guess to answer your question, I think the D of Dallas was stronger than what we saw maybe on the other side. Brownie,
I agree with that, But just watching some of the highlights of the Rangers series, and they're showing Barkov. Barkov's a guy that's down low. He's a guy who's actually battling in front of the net with some of the Rangers' best players. He's big. He's heavy. He's smart with the puck. He will be that is the best centerman that Connor McDavid will play against. He's that good, Barkov. I like Forsling. I like Ekblad. I agree, though. I don't think Ekblad is as good as Heiskanen. I think Forsling's good, but he's not Heiskanen.
Yeah.
But I think as a team defense, I think that the Florida Panthers in their physicality will be the challenge for the Edmonton Oilers. This is a physical team. The Dallas Stars were not physical. There were games where I know that they added hits up at the end of the night, but you're like, okay, none of those hits were punishing.
Yeah.
The Florida Panthers punish. It's 739 hits they have in the playoffs thus far. So to me, Connor McDavid and his line mates, there will be physical punishment directed at them from the Florida Panthers. So I think that, to me, amongst playing against the good players of Barkov and Ekblad and Forsling, I think it's the physicality that is going to have to deal with.
For sure. And Florida wants to play that way. On average, I think they average about a dozen hits more per game. I think what we will see is Florida probably wanting to dictate that part of the game, and the Oilers absorbing it and finding their spots to counterpunch. Struds, I don't think this Oiler team is wired in a way where we're going to be talking about them hitting the ground running physically and dictating play physically. I feel like the Oilers are more a team that will wait, see what the other team wants to do on that front, and then they'll hang in there. They have the ability to hang in there, and they can even counter with some good physicality of their own, but I think it'll be Florida dictating.
I hear it. Just to go back to your previous point, though, Mika Zibanejad isn't McDavid either, right? Like, I think we have to be clear. Like, disrespect to Mika. So Barkov, shutting down Mika Zibanejad is a long way from Barkov playing against Connor McDavid. And the thing about Connor is he figures things out. He's, he's always learning, always learn. So I think that to be a counterpoint to Barkov. But as far as the physicality, I hear what you're saying. I think the Oilers have to be prepared for it and not be surprised. Like, I don't want to get into the first period like, oh man, these guys are going to play hard. They're gonna hit. Like, there's a chance Florida might hit them in the morning skate. Like, they're going to be coming after them every single chance they can. But I think there are some Oilers players who need to be physical throughout it. And I'm looking at 25. Now, Darnell Nurse has to come out angry, and he has to be physical, because if he can be physical, he can maybe draw some of the attention away from some of the others. So, you might see other guys like, I'm going to try to run Nurse instead of trying to run, whomever, because he's kind of being that alpha male. Evander Kane, there's another guy that needs to be physical. If Fogo gets in, he needs to be physical. Hyman doesn't have to run guys, but he's got to be heavy in the way he plays. Same with Draisaitl. So you're right. I don't think they can out-hit Florida, but they need to have some guys who set the tone and say, hey, we're going to play physical, or I am going to play physical. And Darnell, when I look across that lineup, there's no one that Darnell can't match physically, and who quite honestly can't hit as much or as hard as anyone on that team.
You know what, though? I disagree with a little bit with Rishaug. I do believe the Oilers are going to come out physical. I don't think they're as physical as Florida, but I don't think they're going to wait. I think you're going to see the first shift. I think Connor is going to run someone. I think Leon is going to run something. I see Nurse doing it. I don't think they're going to wait to see, okay, what kind of series is this going to be? I think the Oilers are going to come out physical too. If Kane is healthy, I think the first time he's on the ice, he's going to run someone through the boards. I do believe the Oilers have the physicality not to be equal to Florida, but to be in the same ballpark. And I don't believe they'll wade themselves into the series. It's not a secret. I mean, we're sitting here talking about the physicality of the Florida Panthers. I'm guessing in the Oilers dressing room, they know. So I don't think there's going to be any surprise when Florida comes out hitting. And I believe the Oilers will be just as physical as they can possibly be. To me, the Oilers are the most physical team in the Western Conference. And now they're going against the most physical team in the Eastern Conference.
Interesting. Noel Rinsky, chiming back to our last comment, says, for once, I would like the discussion to focus on how the Panthers are going to deal with the best team in the NHL since mid-November. I don't really get the sense, you guys, that I feel like there isn't really a favorite heading into this thing.
Mm-mm.
I mean, sure, maybe there's some pundits that are, maybe it's leaning a little bit more towards people picking Florida. But is it just me, or does this feel like it's pretty right down the middle, Struds?
It does feel like it could be really close. And when it's close, generally speaking, I'm going to go with the team that has the best player. I really feel that way. And I think that with all due respect to Barkov, I think you're taking Connor and Leon before you take Barkov.
Oh,
and
for
I
sure.
like Barkov a lot. Like, I like him a lot. Don't get me wrong. I really like him. But then on the D side, you look at Bouchard, Ekholm. They're both, how are they that far behind the pairing of Forsling and Ekblad? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're a pretty good pairing too, right? And then you kind of look through the rest. It's not that. I don't think it's quite as drastic as people think. There are some quite, like, Evander Kane to me is a massive question mark in this series. What can he bring?
Practice today, by the way.
Right, and that's a huge thing. That is a huge thing because we've seen what he can do again. He seems to get. He becomes more Evander Kane when there's someone on the other side trying to be him. And there's two guys on that team, Bennett and Tkachuk, and both those guys love to talk. The Oilers need Evander Kane in there. And they just like I believe they need Darnell Nurse in those guys' faces, playing them hard.
Yeah.
I think this is the two best teams in the National Hockey League playing against each other. It's a flip 'em series. A brave bounce is going to be the difference between a win and a loss in each game. I think Ekholm and Bouchard are better than the Florida Panthers' best pairing. I don't think it's as good as Ekholm and Bouchard are better than Forsling and Ekblad. I do. And the Florida Panthers are deep. So are the Oilers. The Florida Panthers have got great goaltending, and Skinner has been fantastic in his last 8 games. Bounces, the right call here or there, and then execution. When you have the opportunity, do you bury it as opposed to off the post or just missing that chance? And we saw in the game the last game against the Dallas Stars, Stars were the better team, but they didn't execute. They missed their chances. Skinner was great, but they missed a lot of grade A scoring chances. You miss those against the Oilers, you don't get second and third chances. So to me, this is a 6-7 game series, and you can pick either side and have a good reason to why you pick that team.
Steve, what do we got, pal?
Similar to what Struddy was just saying, Noel Rinsky says, I've heard a lot about McDavid not having played against a guy like Barkov, but I would counter that Barkov hasn't gone up against a guy like McDavid, and he's hearing less about that. So yeah, just thoughts on Barkov.
Yeah, for sure.
McDavid.
For sure. It's true. Like, McDavid is a unique challenge. He's a different challenge for sure. Struds, if I were to say to you in a 7-game series, pick one center in the league to put up head-to-head against Connor McDavid. So you're facing McDavid in a playoff series. Take one player somewhere from the league that you can play against him. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but the point I'm making here is, I mean, if you asked 15 really knowledgeable hockey people that question, how many are saying Barkov as the center to play against him?
Well, yeah. I mean, he a young Anze Kopitar.
Oh, sorry, you don't have a time machine, bud. You do not have a time machine. That was not the criteria.
It's Barkov. 100% it's Barkov. The guy's going to win. He just won the Selke for best defensive forward. You're putting Barkov up against McDavid. Yeah. That's not to say that Barkov's better, but if you want your best chance against Connor McDavid and you can't play Leon against him, then it's Barkov.
What about a healthy Rupe Hintz, Brownie?
Nope, I'd take Barkov.
I'd
still take over Hintz. Yep. To me, Barkov is the best two-way player in the world right now. I think
who's faster?
Pardon?
Hintz or Barkov? I think Hintz is faster than Barkov.
Hintz is probably faster. Barkov is stronger, and I think Barkov is smarter.
Yeah.
Someone's throwing McKinnon in. Penner's Pancake says McKinnon maybe.
I love McKinnon too, but
the speed
speed, but defensively he's not as strong. Then it turns into McDavid versus McKinnon. Who's going to score more goals? I'd pick McDavid.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Barkov. Like, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to go through the catalog in my head, and I can't. It's funny. Like, I actually, I came with Austin Matthews, guys, and I know that's probably after Barkov, but is he there? Like, because he can also score and he can hold on to the puck.
Yeah,
I think holding on to the puck is a big deal. Like, I think if I were a player playing against him, I'd try to play in his end as much as possible. Not that he's a bad defender, but hold on to the puck, try to kill 40 seconds, and then we'll change, right? Like, that's a heavier kind of center that holds on to it, and Barkov does check that, right?
Okay, let's get to our Weiss Johnson sound box, and it's warming up, right? So if you don't have an air conditioner yet, now's a great time to look into getting one. Or service your existing air conditioner before firing it up for the summer. Visit weiss-johnson.com for all your home comfort needs. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson,
Oh boy, we're just going to have to let that one go. Connor McDavid today asked if Matthew Tkachuk of now is the same Matthew Tkachuk of before and what he expects.
Lots of antics, lots of things going on. Do you expect the same guy in a Panthers uniform you encountered when he was wearing a Flames uniform?
I would expect the same guy, yeah. I would expect the same guy. You know, he's a great player, smart, effective, understands, I guess the gamesmanship side of the game. And he's good at it.
After the whistles.
Struds, what do you think? Like, will Matthew Tkachuk try and affect the series in all of the Matthew Tkachukian ways that he has shown he can? Or will he play it a little more straight, just relying on the strength of the team around him to be able to beat the Edmonton Oilers without believing that they needed to do that?
Yeah, I'd actually take number 2. I think he's going to start by just trying to play it right and try to, just his team can forecheck. That's what they really do well. I think they're a tremendous forecheck. So they're going to be on the forecheck, and he's a big part of that. I think when things go sideways, I think he'll dip into it. Now, if there's an opportunity to run McDavid or Leon, he'll do it. But I don't believe he's going to try to run Derek Ryan.
Well, no. Let Ryan play is what they're saying. Let Derek play. No, I watched some of the series between the Rangers and the Panthers, and he did get into the head of Shesterkin. I mean, to the point that Shesterkin was throwing blocker punches at him. So he's not going to not be Matthew Tkachuk because he's in the finals. Mm-hmm. I think he understands there's a line that he can get to. This is a different animal with the Oilers and their power play. So he can't be stupid. But I do believe he will do whatever it takes to get an upper hand. I mean, he's like Corey Perry. I mean, Corey Perry accidentally falls on a goaltender when he has to. And it's all an accident, but he always lands in the right spot every single time. So Tkachuk's not going to be stupid, but as I think what Connor said, he knows the gamesmanship, and he's very good at it.
Steve-O, you want another crack at the Weiss jingle, buddy?
I would love to, yeah.
Would you love another one at that? All right. Let's get back to the Weiss Johnson sound box, and a reminder for all of your air conditioning furnace needs, visit weiss-johnson.com for all of your home comfort needs. Jingle. Oh, there it is, baby. There it is. Here's Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah, I mean, we can be a physical team too. Obviously, we like to play with the puck, but we're certainly not intimidated by physicality. We've handled it well in the Vancouver series, handled it well in the LA series. Dallas was a little bit different, but we're a good enough team. We got enough guys that know how to play that type of way as well, and we'll be ready to go.
They will be ready to go physically. Line combinations from today, gentlemen. I was down at practice. So Dylan Holloway with Leon Draisaitl and Warren Foegele today. The expectation is Warren Foegele was placeholding for Evander Kane. That was the main change, restructuring that second line, getting away from Perry and McLeod that they finished last series with. Adam Henrique between Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown, kind of indicating that Janmark and Brown move up to what would be a third line, I might suggest. And then Ryan McLeod and Corey Perry on the wings, and Sam Carrick and Derek Ryan were taking turns at center ice there. And by the way, Philip Broberg taking first reps with the third pairing. So let's discuss that main switch there, Brownie. We alluded to this the other night. Putting that Kane, Holloway, Draisaitl line back together makes some sense considering the opponent here.
Well, it does. There's more upside than a Perry, McLeod, Draisaitl line. There's the physicality. They're a big, strong line. Talked about the Florida Panthers being physical. Well, your second line with Leon, Kane, and Holloway, that is a big, mean, nasty line. So I really do like that line. I think that there was a nice buzz with Leon McLeod and Perry, but it was short-lived. Yeah. And it faded away. If you're going to go a 7-game series with a big physical team, you want to put your best foot forward. And this, to me, the 4 lines, but mainly the top 3 lines, I think those are the best 3 lines that the Oilers can put together.
I want to see Leon's line played against Sam Bennett's line. I just think that would be such good hockey because there's so much arrogance on, with Kane and Leon, and arrogance is a compliment. Leon and Kane, and then Bennett and obviously Tkachuk. Like seeing those 4 guys on the ice with each other and against each other for shift after shift, it's a dream. I think the one guy I think that I'd like to see reintroduced is Fogle. He's a big body and he can skate. McLeod, I get where the appeal is. On the defensive side of puck, I still get a little nervous. I just don't. He seems to find himself on the wrong side of the puck more than others on the team. So I wonder if Fogle gets a chance in there, just to add that size and speed.
Well, to going back to that, Struds, I love the Janmark, Brown, and Henrique line. I think that is a very good checking line. That especially if you're on home ice, I'm going to put them out against anyone and feel very comfortable because they're all very smart in their own zone. But to you two, who would you rather have on left wing, Fogle or McLeod?
For this series, I would probably have Warren Fogle start. But here's the thing, guys. And I don't know if this should matter at this time of year or not. The coach really likes Ryan McLeod. And Ryan McLeod is part of the future here with this team and with this organization. And I think it's close enough between the two to give McLeod the benefit of the doubt in game 1. Put him out there, see if he can perform, see if he'll compete. You're putting him in a 4th line left wing role. Pretty simple what the instructions are. Go play smart defensive hockey, get pucks out, see if you can throw the odd body check and see how it goes. So I'm okay with McLeod to start, but it's a short leash. If the competitiveness isn't there, it's a 1-game short leash for me.
Struds, to me, it's Fogle. To me, I'd rather have Fogle on the left side than McLeod. What about you, Struds?
Yeah, especially a guy who hasn't played in that long. Like, what is he? Is he sat out 3-4 games now, guys? 3?
Fogle?
Fogle.
So, sorry, who would you rather, you're saying because he sat out so long, get him in?
No, because, yes. Well, I would play either way, but he'd be a highly motivated Warren Fogle.
So you'd put him in ahead of McLeod?
Yeah.
That's what Brownie was asking.
I'm putting Fogle in, but one of their big reasons is it because he'll be pissed off. He hasn't played in 3 games. Like, this guy scored 20 goals in the NHL this year, and he's sitting out watching from the rafters, seeing his team clinch a Western Conference championship while he's eating popcorn upstairs. You're all about the team, but doesn't mean you're not motivated and pissed off. So I'd like to see a raging bull, a Fogle out there. So I would start him game 1. So when I saw these lines, I was surprised to see that, and you said he's a placeholder. And I'm like, okay, I didn't expect that. I thought he'd be in there for sure game 1, playing hard, because I think he'll be a motivated guy. 20 goals, man. 20 goals sitting on the outside looking in.
And again, that was just practice today. So we will see. Knobloch was asked about Warren Fogle today, and he said he will be in. He will be part of this series. Like he knows what he has there. But as of practice today, it looked like he wasn't going to be in. Brownie, do you have one more thought on that? Or are you good?
Nope, I'm all good.
Okay, let's get to our UCAN Youth Services Relentless Player. If you're looking to hire entry-level staff for your company, UCAN Youth Services trains youth in pre-employment skills to help get them ready, willing, and able to join your team. Check out www.ucan.ca for more information. Different assignment for you tonight, Struds, on this one. Who will we be talking about as the relentless player of this series? We're asking you to prognosticate a little bit, looking into the future. Doesn't have to be the obvious stars, but who will show themselves to be the relentless player of this series?
I think where there's a great opportunity for Florida is on the 3rd line. I look at that 3rd line. They've got a really good 3rd line. If you're not familiar with it, Lundell is a really emerging young good player. Lucieranen is also pretty good player, and then Vladi Tarasenko, big heavy player. So I'm going to go with Adam Henrique. I think that his 3rd line has to have a pivotal role in this. And I know I know Brownie's laughing about it, but I pretend I talk about how good he was going to be next year. But honestly, guys, I think that the first and second line or Oilers are right there. That 3rd line, I think this is really important, man. This is an important line for the Oil. So I'm going to go that 3rd line. I don't know what you guys. Henrique and the 3rd line need to be good in this series.
He picked his guy, Brownie.
I
He
know,
went with his
100%
guy.
he did. Well,
His
right
nephew.
underneath his shirt right now, he's got a Henrique jersey on, so I understand that.
Yeah, I wear it to bed at night. But yeah, I think you have to, put away my emotions. You guys, I think I know I'm right here. What do you guys think?
I think that's a great call. I do like the Florida Panthers third line and the Oilers third line. That's why when you said the line, Shogger, I like that third line from the Oilers. I really do. The defense, there'll be a defensive conscious out there. The player that I would pick Darnell Nurse. I think they need a big series that are Darnell Nurse. I think he's an important part of this series. If he has a good series, the Oilers win.
I'm going to go with Mattias Ekholm. I think Mattias Ekholm is going to be a beast in this series. He was there before. He's tasted it. He has some regrets and some frustrations about the way it went. If he's healthy, I think Mattias Ekholm is going to be a big swing, penalty kill, blocking shots, big minutes against the other team's best, absorbing hits, giving it back. I think he's going to be a gamer for the Oilers. But Struds, Adam Henrique, could be, buddy. We'll have to wait and see. Before we go to break here, there's been a lot of talk about people asking on the stream, Steve. Did you have something, Steve?
I was just going to chime in with some of the relentless player opinions from the chat. So we've got Taves DeCane says Bouchard. Someone whose handle I can't pronounce says Carrick will be the relentless player. Grandpa's Gaming Garage says Hyman. We've got another Hyman, Vander Kane.
Quaddy coming in there with Skinner, I see. He's giving Stu Skinner the award.
Connor McDavid. So, all over the place.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. As I was saying before, Steve, some people were asking earlier about what the watch party situation was going to be.
Yeah.
Because there is a carnival in town, and I think it's going to be over where the big tent normally is. And so some people are asking kind of what the plan is.
Yeah, it was CD Locals who brought that up. And
so just touch base with the organization briefly tonight. What they're going to do is they're working to up capacity in the plaza by another 1,500 people, so they'll have some more space there. Apparently, the city is doing some sort of activation on Rice Howard Way. And then, of course, every sports bar in the city is going to be open, but it's only going to be for the one game, is what I'm told. So bit of an adjustment there for game one, and then I think it'll probably end up getting back to normal. So we'll see, but for those that were asking about that. All right, plenty more to come here on the show. When we come back, we got takeaways. We'll introduce our DeBoer's YouTube poll as well. We got Struddy's World. By the way, Struddy's going off the grid tonight. Any hints, Struds?
Oh, it's just golf etiquette, and this one has been on me for a while, guys. I've been saving this one.
Okay, I like it. So Struddy's World, brownie points, still tons ahead, so stay with a short break here.
The fastest growing male grooming company on the planet just got even better. Backscape 2.0 with a revolutionary friction fit handle makes the razor easy to pop in and out to shave not only your back, but anywhere on your body. And those hard-to-reach spots just got even easier with the new ergonomic design. Backscape's new titanium shave head makes for a smoother, more comfortable shave that respects your skin. Backscape 2.0. Stay smooth, gentlemen.
On paper, my life looks exciting.
In reality, not so much.
Every day it's same old, same old.
Clock in, clock out.
Then I discovered Play Alberta. I can play casino games anytime.
Bet on any game.
And buy lottery tickets anywhere in Alberta. I think my spleen is ruptured.
Time for our takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. The playoffs will soon be over and summer is here. Get ready for all your summer adventures with Martin Motorsports, your one-stop shop for all the toys for your next outdoor adventure. Quads, side-by-sides, boats, Sea-Doos, motorcycles, Vamoose, e-bikes, and more. Their showroom packed full of great machines, boats, accessories. Head on over to Martin Motorsports so you're ready to make memories this summer. All right, gentlemen, let's talk about the goaltending matchup. Stu Skinner, Sergei Bobrovsky for the Yet another series here, and he faced it last series. Skinner would be the underdog between the two netminders. Met the challenge in the last round nicely. Fantastic in the clinching game. Solid when he refound his footing, guys, after the reset. But Bob has been good. Bob has been some kind of good and been a big difference maker here. Fair, Struds, that the advantage probably has to be given to Bobrovsky at this point. But how confident would you say you are? I called Skinner's performance reputation cleansing after that win against the Dallas Stars. He's at a bump early in each of the series, Struds. What's your confidence level that Stu Skinner will be able to pick up where he left off and avoid that bump?
Well, let's first start with Florida. I believe that Bobrovsky's been good, but he hasn't had to been great. Like, I don't think he's had to be all world for him to get there. They've got a good team in front of him. And I think that team has done a good job, not insulating him, but making it easier than maybe they've seen in past years. So he's been good, but I don't think he has had to been great, although I think he can get to that level. With Skinner, he continues to, overcome this adversity or these tough moments in the series and find his way back and be the player that they need to be. Especially look at the last game. That was probably his ultimate game in the most important game of his career. He comes up with his biggest game. And so I think he is growing in front of our eyes. Last series, I said he didn't have to be great. He had to be average. And I was wrong. He was great in that last game and he made a difference in that. So, looking at this series, can we expect him to be great against a really good goalie like Bobrovsky? I mean, Andre was really good, and Andre had a couple tough games, right? Andre gave up 7 goals in 2 games. So, these guys are human as well. I think the Oilers are able to make these goalies human or more human by the way they play. So I think it's important for Oilers to put pressure on Bobrovsky. And for Skinner, I think it's hard for me to say he's going to be better than Bobrovsky because he's a really good goalie, but I think he has to have his moments. I'll put it that way. He has to have moments in this series where he's really, really good, and the others just try to be, just be average Brownie.
I think that he can be as good as Bobrovsky in this series. I do. I think Skinner, when he's on, is one of the better in the league. I think he's on right now. I think he's full of confidence. The team is confident in him. I feel fully confident going forward in the playoffs with Stuart Skinner as their goaltender. I have no hesitation saying that Stuart Skinner is going to have a good final series. Whether he does or not, I don't know. But right now, I have no hesitation believing in Skinner going into this series.
6 games played in the last series. Bobrovsky gave up 2 or fewer goals in 5 of the 6 games. His saves, 24, 28, 18, 21, 25, 23, just kind of giving you a sense of the workload that he saw. Save percentages through the series. He was perfect in the first game, 933, 783, 913, 926, 958. So pretty strong performance from him in that last series. Didn't give up a tremendous amount against. But Stuart Skinner, Matt, he's learning and he's growing. And we're seeing it right before our eyes. And it's not a straight line, Brownie. Like, it's not, man. You don't just go through something and mistakes happen and then you just never make those mistakes again. You never... Like, Stuart Skinner is learning to deal with this. He's going through this for the first time. This will be him going through this for the first time. But he's taking those lessons and he is showing that he can adapt and be better.
I agree. And I think if you go back through all the different playoff series and Stanley Cup champions the last number of years, I don't believe any of the goaltenders that won the Stanley Cup had a perfect record. I think there were games or bumps throughout the playoffs. I think with Stuart Skinner, because there's no history, you're like, okay, as a coach, okay, is he going to bounce back from this? But Bobrovsky, we've seen when he has an off night, what he does the next time. If we've seen Shesterkin have an off night, well, he's got the track record, so we still have belief. We're seeing Skinner's track record right now. We're learning as he does. And it's funny, before Game 6 against Dallas, we had people calling our show on Ched. I had buddies of mine talking, yeah, I'm not sure they can get it done with Skinner. I'm not sure Skinner's the answer. And then in Game 6, I mean, Connor McDavid said it best after the game. If it wasn't for Skinner, we would be on a plane right now to Dallas. That's how good Skinner was. And still, there's a lot of people that doubt him. So I believe that Stuart Skinner enjoys proving people wrong. And right now, he just has to win 4 more games and give that smile at the end of it like, I showed you. I showed you what I'm capable of doing. Right now, he's got swagger. Now, Strud, you brought it up last time we talked. And every time they show a close-up of Skinner now, his head's bobbing. He's singing. It's either the music in the rink or the music in his head. But he's got some swagger right now. And as a player, I love when my goaltender has swagger. It gives me confidence.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Really good point. For sure. And if you look at, I believe the only goalie who's played more in the last 2 years than Skinner is Bobrovsky. Because I think, Bobrovsky, they went to the final as well last year, right? So he's 8 series deep. And I think there's maybe to start last year, there was a bit of goalie swapping going on there, but he's been involved in 8 series. This will be his 8th. Stu has been involved. This is his 6th. So, I mean, he is growing and learning on the fly. And I've said it before, but like long-term, this is unbelievably good for the Oilers because Skinner's getting to learn how to play in these massive moments. And next year, a game and game 40 against Colorado won't be quite as intimidating as it was his first year.
Guys, let's talk about the special teams battle that is here. The Oilers, obviously, their penalty kill is the best penalty kill in the playoffs right now. Right behind them at 88% is Florida. You talk about the Oilers being perfect in 2 of their 3 series. The Florida Panthers gave up 1 power play goal in each of their last 2 series. So 2 power play goals against in their last 2 series. Yeah, I'm just taking a quick look at that, double checking that. Yep, they were zeros all the way across the board, except for in game 4 in each series, they gave up a power play goal against. So the penalty kill is real solid on both ends. Where the big advantage is, obviously, is the Oilers' power play. I think we know the advantages there. 23% is Florida's. They're 6th in the playoffs. But it would seem to me, guys, that if the Oilers' penalty kill, which has been their sharpest weapon in these playoffs, can keep doing what they're doing, it's a massive swing in Edmonton's direction because their power play is a lot better than Florida's. So if the penalty kills can kind of saw it off a little bit here, or the Oilers' penalty kill can be really good, that's a big advantage, Brownie.
Well, it is. The Oilers have the best power play in the National Hockey League, and it's no secret. And what it is it gives them tons of confidence, and it's a game changer, but it also changes the way the Florida Panthers play. I mean, if you want to play right to the line and be physical and maybe be, a little dirty here and there, and all of a sudden the Oilers get a power play and score, well, that backs you off your physicality. That backs you off Matthew Tkachuk of getting silly in scrums. Bennett running around. Okay, wait a sec. I just got my elbow up. Now it's a 4-minute. That's 2 goals against. So it is a huge advantage for the Oilers because it changes the way Florida plays. And I think that the Florida Panthers are very cognizant of what Edmonton can do to them on the power play. And I do believe that will have an effect on how Florida plays, especially as the games move on. Later in games, now all of a sudden, okay, we're in the 3rd period. It's a close game. We can't afford to do that. Instead of running Bouchard through the boards, I'm just going to kind of rub him out instead. That'll play huge in the Oilers' favor.
It's interesting. You look at who they use. Florida uses 2 of their stars. Reinhart and Barkov kill a lot of penalties for them, which I think is really interesting. Lundell is their 5th guy. Then they have, who is it, Lisa Reinen and a 4th liner, Stanley. So I find that really interesting. They use those big guys in that role. Especially with Bouchard shooting pucks, man. That guy's going to bomb it. We saw what happened with Tanev. So obviously they got to get in that shooting lane. And I'm not saying they're scared, but if they don't get in that shooting lane, how does that affect that power play for the Oilers? So to give some context, that would be like Connor and Hyman killing penalties, or actually, or Leon and Hyman killing penalties for them.
All right, gentlemen, time to get to our YouTube poll, and that is brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center, aiming to help you play better golf with golf fitting, instruction, after-sales support, golf merchandise, and clothing as well. 25 years they're celebrating, so check out their Pro Shop style atmosphere at 5311 99th Street here in Edmonton. Go see Al, Scott, TJ, fantastic crew down at DeBoer's. This will be our next topic of conversation. But Steve, why don't we check in on the poll here? We'll actually do the results in Ask Us Anything, but lay the poll out.
Yeah, so the question is, with the Oilers now in the Cup final, how do you feel about Ken Holland's overall performance? The answers, the options are he's a huge reason they made it this far. He's helped but hasn't been a major factor, or he's done more harm than good. Those are the three options we have.
And maybe some people feel somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Brownie, which way would you lean there of those?
This is a team that he built. And at the beginning of the season, when they struggled, there was a lot of talk that they need to go out and get a goaltender. There was a lot of talk that there was problems in the dressing room, and they got to get rid of one of their star players. They got to move someone big. And Ken Holland didn't listen to that. He brought up from within. He didn't make the trades, and the team found their way. Made the coaching change, but there's a lot of people that thought he needed to make big moves, and Ken Holland didn't, and it was the right thing to do. So I think this is Ken Holland's team, and I think he deserves a ton of credit because we heard a lot of people that said he should have been fired in November, and Ken Holland's team right now is in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, and then, I mean, trading for Ekholm and signing Hyman, I mean, you get your top two players on your team. I mean, it's incredible, right? That a massive amount. So those two, yeah, he got some wrong. Yeah, but every GM gets some wrong, guys. But those two were so right for this group.
If you are somebody who on this stream at some point was screaming bloody murder, Ken Holland needing to be held accountable, Ken Holland needing to be fired, Ken Holland needing to be, we saw you, we heard you the whole way. The reason we never really engaged in a lot of that conversation was because so much of the story had to be written yet. How the team performed in the playoffs, how his additions performed in the playoffs, how the Henrique thing worked out. So, there will be a time to do a more fulsome kind of analysis of it. But I wonder, for those who were screaming for his firing, now that the team is entering the Stanley Cup Final, were you wrong? Do you think you were wrong? Let's see if we've got anybody honest enough. Any people that have been on this stream this year who at one point said Ken Holland needs to go, or why isn't he being held accountable? Or if you were one of those people, how do you feel now? Steve, keep an eye out for anybody that's willing to be honest with us on that and let us know what they have to say. Okay, and we'll check in on the results of that poll in our Ask Us Anything segment. When we come back, Hamel's Beef Jerky is going to bring us brownie points, and then we've got Strudwick World as well. Lots more ahead. Stay with us.
The Brindley family has made it their mission to create the best tasting flavored rums on the planet, and they've knocked it out of the park with their Shipwreck rums. Brewed off the small Caribbean island of St. Kitts, their spiced rum is aged 4 years in bourbon barrels and infused with natural vanilla. Their Shipwreck vanilla is blended with natural Madagascar vanilla, giving it incredible smoothness. One sip and you'll agree, it truly is a vacation in a bottle. Available at your local liquor retailer. Please enjoy responsibly.
Long Shots Golf is the destination for both golf enthusiasts and sports fans. Top-of-the-line TrackMan simulators provide a highly entertaining and accurate golf experience, while a full-service sports bar loaded with big screens and scratch kitchen make it a truly unique destination. They have locations in Sherwood.
I love them all.
Okay, and we're live. Sorry, prematurely in all that conversation we were having.
And we're live. Well, we were just having the discussion in the break, everybody. We'll pull back the curtain for you. I said to Brownie, should we do brownie points first? How do you feel about following Struddy's world? Because that can be pretty tough. And Brownie, you said...
I said I followed him in a karaoke bar. This is going to be much easier than following him in a karaoke because he really belt out a tune. When he gets Kenny Rogers, the Gambler, going, I mean, it brings the house down. So this is going to be so much easier.
I've heard he thinks he's one of those guys that can sing. Like he thinks he's one of those guys that can sing. Know what, though? So he commits, but really it's more about the commitment than it is the actual skill.
Yes. It is the commitment, but it's the fact that when he knows he's on stage, he wears his tight jeans. So he's eye candy. Like no one's even listening to the voice. They're just staring at the tight jeans that he wears on stage. And
eyes are up here, ladies.
He one time he dropped the microphone, couldn't get it. Some lady in the front row had to go get it and pick it up for him because he couldn't.
Come on. Struds, really?
They were tight. I've got loose hamstrings. That's how tight my jeans are.
That's amazing. By the way, I asked a question. I challenged those on our live stream to be honest. Those that were mad at Holland and wanted him gone. How do you feel now? Well, Freddie Anderson says, still pissed, fire Holland. So Freddie's sticking to his guns. Attaboy, Freddie. Way to stick to you. Nothing will make Freddie happy. until they're hoisting that Stanley Cup. All right, time for Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. If you're looking for a snack to bring to the next watch party, look no further than Hamel's Beef Jerky, locally owned here in Alberta. Shipping so fast, you can satisfy that savory craving for the remainder of the Oilers playoff run. How about this deal? $99 for 3 pounds of jerky with free shipping. Yes, $99 for 3 pounds of jerky, free shipping anywhere in Alberta. Just enter your code, actually. Got Your Back is the code. That'll get you an additional 5% off. So stock up on that beef jerky. Brownie?
All right, let's start with 5 brownie points for Corey Perry. They brought him in here because he's a proven winner. This is the 5th different National Hockey League team that has gone to the finals with Corey Perry on.
That's a record.
That is an NHL record, so good on Corey Perry. I've got 181 brownie points for Stuart Skinner. In his last 8 games since being benched, he's got a .920 save percentage and a 1.81 goals against average. He plays like that in the finals. The Edmonton Oilers are going to win the Stanley Cup. I got 27 brownie points for Evan Bouchard. It was on New Year's Eve. I was at a buddy's house, and I got into an argument with 2 guys who said that Evan Bouchard would not be a top 4 defenseman on any other team in the National Hockey League. I argued hard that night. Well, I'm just going to say this. Evan Bouchard is 3rd in the NHL in scoring. He leads all defensemen with 6 goals and 27 points. He would, I know it's either going to be Connor or Leon if the Oilers win the Stanley Cup, but you can make an argument that Evan Bouchard could be the Conn Smythe Trophy winner with the stats that he's throwing up.
Let's see what happens, buddy. That's not written in stone.
Not yet, but you're right. Bouchard has been good. I've got 100 brownie points to Hamel's Beef Jerky because today when I opened up my mailbox, there was the June mailbox monthly beef jerky, and it was the bourbon jerky today, and I had it at lunchtime with my salad. So thank you, Hamel's. Because I gave 100 away, I got to take 100 back. I'm taking 100 away from the National Hockey League. The NHL playoff final schedule sucks. Seriously.
What's the matter, Brownie? What don't you like?
We're waiting a week for it to start. And then you're going to have an extra day in between games. There's going to be 2 games played in the summer. June 20th or 21st, there's going to be 2 games after. It's dumb. This is too late to be playing. I think you're losing a lot of fans outside of Edmonton. If any other team in Edmonton wasn't in it, I wouldn't be watching. It's too late in the season. So I think it's stupid. I'm taking 100 points away. Actually, you know what? I'm taking 1,000 points away. Gary Bettman owes me 1,000. And finally, because I now have 1,000 in my back pocket, I'm giving out 50. I'm giving out 50 to my good friend Jason Strudwick, who has the courage to drink wine from the bottle during this podcast. Good on you.
Is that what you're doing?
It's not wine. I don't even like wine. I only drink if there's nothing else. If there's nothing else, I'll drink wine.
You're just shipwreck rum guy.
I am. I do. You guys, I don't even tell you how many times I've had shipwreck rum during this pod. I tell you, it is a pretty good percentage of the time.
Struds, what are your thoughts on the schedule?
I would have liked to start a little bit sooner, but just because of the distance, guys, I don't have a problem with that extra day. It is so far. I think that's a long trip, and the 2 hours change. Like, you got to give the guys a chance. So yes, could they have started maybe Thursday? Yeah, I could have got behind that. So that's what days they Wednesday would start tomorrow. To go maybe Thursday, Saturday, then he would have gone like Tuesday, Thursday, something like that. But the time in between, I like that travel day for the guy. I think it's so
Never
far.
mind the guys. Can we talk about the media here, Brownie? You're not even considering your media brethren who have to go slog it all the way, flying commercial. Extra day
wait
is
a second.
crucial.
Are you going to Florida? Oh, poor Sugar has to go to Florida, Struds.
I thought
and there's extra days off.
Time now for Struddy's World.
Yeah.
That was Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. I don't know. There's no sympathy for the media ever. That's okay. All right, let's get into Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. They've got locations in Calgary and in Edmonton. So if you're a contracting business or a contractor, let DLR help you add vinyl fence to your product line. Reliable, unmatched service with high-quality North American-made products. Check out what they have to offer online, DLRvinylproducts.ca. Okay, Struds, take us to the golf course.
Yeah, so I've joined a men's league, and I've never played in a men's league in my life, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a new group of guys. I've kind of known a couple of them, but they invited me in, and obviously it's been a lot of fun. And so I'm trying to get to know the guys. So after the game, you always like, hey man, how'd it go? How'd it go? And so I asked the one guy, how did it go? That's kind of what you do when you're on the golf course, I guess. And he said to me, it was a really good round. I almost had 2 birdies, and I was like, I didn't think I heard him correctly, so I said, sorry, what was that? He goes, I almost had 2 birdies. Like, really? You know what we call those? He's like, what? Pars. I'm like, why do you tell me you almost had 2 birdies? I don't want to hear about that. It's not even close. That's go right up there to me. That's right up there with the guy that plays men's league. Like, you scored? No, but hit 2 posts. Yeah, those still aren't goals. Or it's a guy that goes to the casino and has some bad beat stories in poker. Nobody cares. No one cares if you lost in poker. We're there to lose. Not everyone's going to win. So I don't want to hear about your almost birdies. Either you did or didn't get a birdie, or you did or didn't get an eagle. But don't tell me almost birdie. Almost birdie, guys, is a par. That's what it is. That's why they have the name for it. So etiquette when it comes to golfing, you have to be clear. Don't tell me what might have been. Tell me what actually was happening. We're not that dire straits to have conversation.
Brownie?
Wow. I mean, maybe that poor gentleman had never had a birdie in his life.
Yeah.
And the excitement of almost getting one where it lipped out, it was going in, and he was going to tell, it was one where he'd pick the ball up, they'd take a picture of him afterwards, and he would tell all his friends. So it was so close. I just don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, I had 3 today. Strudge, you want me to tell you I had 3 birdies today? I felt
That's
pretty
great.
good about
Did you actually have them, or
Yes,
you had
no,
a chance?
No, I actually did have them.
Maybe he was just kind of really excited to be talking to Jason Strudwick, and when you asked him how his round went, he got a little nervous, and then thought about the best things of his day, and the best thing of his day was the almost birdies, and he wanted to share that with you because he looks up to you and thinks you're kind of a cool guy, and was like, that's what he came out with.
Not no more. Now he thinks Struds is an ass.
Yeah,
well, I think for a while
Struds is an ass.
For a while he was calling me James. He kept saying, James, pick up the pin. I'm like, what? But anyways, so you know what you guys taught? This is another way I explain it. Every year I played, I was a possibility to win the Norris Trophy. I was on the ballot, but just because I was on the ballot didn't mean I almost won it. That's what I don't understand. It's the same thing.
No, Struds. There was never a possibility.
Oh, there was.
No.
If everyone else said quit playing, I would have won it. There's a chance. So to me, it's the same as almost had 2 birdies. I don't want to hear about your almost 2 birdies, man. Tell me what you got at the end of the day. It doesn't make sense. You know what? I almost lost 30 pounds, but instead I didn't. Yeah, I know that. I can tell by the tightness of your shirt.
Hey, Struds, when you started saying that, I had 3 buddies that got into a fat off. They all went on a diet. They had 30 days to see who would lose the most weight. My one buddy, Clark, he won. He only gained 6 pounds.
Oh,
that's fantastic. That's amazing. All right, that was Struddy's World, brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products. Brownie approves tonight.
That was funny. Struddy makes me laugh. That was funny.
Are you glad you didn't have to follow that, Brownie? That would have been ugly for you.
There's no way I could do it. I would have just dropped the mic in the karaoke bar and just went home, because it was the gambler at its best today. Like, he had the whole crowd going today. That was very, very good.
Good stuff. Brownie, we'll let you go, buddy. We will talk to you after game 1 of the Stanley Cup final in Florida. Look forward to it, my friend.
Sounds good.
All right, the great Rob Brown. When we come back, my one-on-one chat with Connor McDavid from earlier on today. You can catch it on tsn.ca as well. We'll do that for taking a lap, and then ask us anything. So, Steve, do we have a commercial break?
We do, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Very quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay, heroes, are you trying to tough it out through a sports or life injury right now? Trying to prove your mettle by grinding through, gritting your teeth? Well, Redefined Health is here to say it's time to come on in. At Redefined Health, they'll high-five you for your toughness and then get to work on helping you fix the problem. Helping athletes and heroes find better balance, performance, and injury prevention. Visit redefinedhealth.com.
Spring is here, and if you're thinking of buying a new home during the housing market hot period, contacting a mortgage broker should be your first step. Maria Gallus with Maximo Mortgages can guide you with a stress-free experience. With access to dozens of different lenders, Maria's simplistic approach and expert advice will have you ready to put an offer in on your dream home. Take the stress out of your mortgage journey. Contact Maria Gallus at mortgagesbymaria.ca. That's mortgagesbymaria.ca.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has been delivering a high-quality golf experience to Edmonton and area. This beautiful private club, located on Highway 21 just south of Sherwood Park, occupies 160 acres and presents a challenging yet adventurous 18-hole design. A beautiful clubhouse, fully stocked pro shop, and warm, friendly staff truly make it feel like you belong to something unique and special. Visit www.belvederegcc.com.
Alice Hemsky, great handle by the way, chimes in and says, almost needed 2 stitches. Loving reference to our boy Chris Sabunia, also known as One Stitch. Time to take a lap, brought to you by Backscape, the fastest growing male grooming company on the planet, and it is even better. 2.0, engineered with a friction fit handle, lets you effortlessly snap the shaver in and out to touch up the rest of your body. Go to backscape.com and use the promo code GYB10 for 10% off your first order. That is Backscape. Stay smooth, gentlemen. Had a chance to catch up with Connor McDavid for a few minutes after his main media scrum today. We thought we would go all Oilers tonight and not deviate. So courtesy tsn.ca, here's my conversation with Connor earlier today. Connor, let's get to the matchup first and foremost. The Florida Panthers, you saw them a couple of times this season. Results weren't ideal for you. What do you think that, the proper way to play against that team is going to be for your group?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's been a long time since we played them. A lot of the teams we played in the playoffs, we haven't had great results in the regular season, whether it's Vancouver or Dallas or, obviously now these guys. So playoffs are a different animal, and they play an aggressive game. They all skate well. They all work up the ice and forecheck well. I think that's part of their identity. So. For us, breaking the puck out's going to be important. I think, finding a way to play in their zone and kind of wear them down that way will go a long way.
Matthias Ekholm was talking about his Cup final experience the other day. He said it's almost like there's so much else going on around it that you actually get to game time of game one, and it's like you can almost forget that you're there to play hockey, and that's what you need to be focused and ready for. You'll be going through this for the first time. How aware are you of the distraction and prepared to kind of focus in when it counts?
You can already tell the distractions. A little bit more media attention. Definitely lots of friends and family wanting to go to games and stuff like that. But ultimately, we're here to do a job, and we're here to play against a real good Florida team, and they require our full attention. And we'll. Once we get kind of the media stuff, the media portion out of the way, it's just hockey. So we're looking forward to that part.
You guys won something. You won the West. You were able to celebrate as a group, put on hats. I know it's not the end goal, but for this team to be able to do that together, has it sunk in over a couple of days here, maybe what that meant and what you're about to go do together?
You know what? No, I think we're still very much in the mindset that we have another great test in front of us, another great opponent, and something that we're looking forward to. We've played against 3 real good teams, and have another one in front of us, and we're excited for that challenge, and plenty of time for reflecting later on. But we're excited about the opportunity.
Last one, how's this time off been? Is there a way for you to get your brain off of this? Is it taking Lenny for a walk? Like, what are the things that let you relax your brain a little?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, obviously. Understanding what's at stake, and obviously living in Edmonton, anywhere you go, that's what people want to talk about. So, a lot of time just at home, relaxing, resting the body. It's been already a long run, and you got to rest up and get ready to go again.
Thanks, Connor.
Thanks a lot.
All right, now thanks to tsn.ca. We got tons of coverage every single day on tsn.ca. We've been doing these YouTube hits with Gino Retta. So plenty of content every day, previewing, setting up, prepping this series, and we'll be rocking and rolling on TSN Core Sports Center throughout the entire series, and on YouTube and tsn.ca. well, Struds. I like that third answer of his. He wasn't biting at all on the idea that they celebrated anything together as a group. He's like, no, it's still to come.
Yeah, and I think it is. How many people talk about how many Clarence Cups have they won? Like no one really talks about that, right? So I think that, again, I've never been in that position, but I don't believe I'd even think about that as being the end of the journey. But the one I really thought was interesting was the distractions. Again, never been to the Stanley Cup final, but I've talked to a lot of guys who had, and they said that's one of the challenges is there's so much media and there's so many people that you want to include in this event, your partner, your kids, extended family, your parents, your friends, and you're trying to manage, all the tickets and all that. Then what happens as well is that I'm not sure if the Oilers are doing, I'm guessing they will, but generally there's a second flight that flies family and friends and wives and girl and all that stuff back and forth to the games. So you're dealing with that, and there's just a lot around it, and you just really got to stay dialed in and kind of in your normal routine to stay ready. So I get the sense that with Connor at the helm, getting distracted is not an option. I just don't think that's an option for his teammates at all in this one. But I think he's the right guy at the hand.
I have to say, Struds, when they get to this level, like the crush of media that is going to happen, it'll be unlike anything that they've experienced so far. It's a huge spectacle. And I do have to say, man, like I go back a couple of seasons, maybe it had a little bit to do with COVID, but you remember how much tension there was, in those media availabilities, and there were little blow-ups. We had the Maddie thing, there were a few other things, some nurse stuff. Like it was really tense a few years ago. And what I've noticed about this Oiler core group and this Darnell Nurse thing that happened last week, setting that aside is kind of a one-off. I have to say, Struds, and I know fans may or may not even care about this stuff, but they have gotten so good at handling their media. Connor is so engaged. He's, they're handling it like pros. And the reason it matters is because when you get to the Stanley Cup final, it's insane. And if it's something that you're fighting against, if it's something that's a problem for you or an issue for you that you don't just accept, it just gets in the way. So I do have to say this group has come a long way as a group of handling their responsibilities and just taking it for what it is, Struds. And I think that it can be something that gets in the way if you approach it wrong.
Well, I think it can take energy from you. It's going to happen, right? Whether you want to or not, it's going to happen. That's a part of the job. That's a part of promoting the game, getting your story across, highlighting the league. So I agree. It's noticeable. Like even Connor, the way he talks there, 5-6 years ago, he wasn't going to talk that way. And he's matured. Obviously, I think it's also part of maturing, but I think he's understanding that. So you don't want to be doing anything at this time of year, or really any time of year, that takes energy away from you. The media want they need their time to tell the story you want them to tell, or you want told, not them, but what you want told. Tell your side, explain how you're feeling, what's going on, and then they can do their job and you can do yours. So I think I agree. I think it's, they've done a good job. They really have. And I'm not sure who is leading that charge. Was it Connor? Probably the new PR guys. I'm somewhere in there. But what happens is it does then become, that's the way it's done by the Oilers, right? It's not done a different way.
Yeah, and I won't tell tales too far out of school, but what I will tell you is certainly Jamie Cartmel, who handles a lot of their media relations, Tim Shipton as well. I think they've really put a priority on that. And I think Connor McDavid has really put a priority on that. I think McDavid has taken some significant steps to make sure that he and the group are on the right side of that one. So anyways, I know it's not something that fans care a lot about, but as a guy who's there every single day, I've noticed a shift in their thinking along these lines. Steve, we're about to get to ask us anything, but you got something first?
Yeah, just a few people just asking about that viral video of Connor's beer run and sort of related to this and just the craziness in the city. I mean, Struds, you would have experienced it somewhat, but just you can't go grab a couple of cases of beer and not get accosted by fans. So I'm
going to hop in on this one. And what I'm going to say is we're not going to give that any oxygen. It was absolute stupidity. And we're not even going to talk about it because everybody with half a brain knows ridiculous. And we're not even going to give it any oxygen. People know better. 99% of people know better. Let's not give stupidity oxygen, would be my thought on that. But I understand why people are asking, Steve. 1,000%, buddy. 1,000%. I think it's so obvious, we don't even need to talk about it. Time for Struddy, you agree? Or do you want to say something about it?
They're idiots.
Yeah.
Absolute idiot. Like, that is an invasion of personal space that if someone did that to them, if I walked up to them, they didn't know who I was, they'd be losing it. Like, it's so wrong. It's embarrassing. It's idiots. It's embarrassing. Invasion of personal space. Just think if someone did that to you, how you'd feel. To anyone watching right now, it's a joke.
All right, let's get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Renee Buclan of Maxwell Devonshire Realty, voted the #1 individual agent for 2 years in a row. That's a big deal. You'll see why when you see her commitment to providing clients with professional services, skilled negotiation, experience, knowledge of Sherwood Park, Edmonton, and surrounding areas. Call Renee at 780-994-0280. All right, Steve-O, what do we got, buddy?
Okay, let's start with the poll results. So the question again was, with the Oilers now in the Cup final, how do you feel about Ken Holland's overall performance? 346 votes, and overwhelmingly some praise for Holland. 79% of the people have said huge reason that they made it this far is Holland's performance. 14% said he's helped but hasn't been a major factor, and only 6% said he's done more harm than good. So yeah, lots of praise for Holland, which is nice to see. Tons of great questions out there. Man, let's start with one from Alice Hemsky, just because he has such a great handle. Guys, do you think they're coming up with new face-off plays this late in the postseason, or is everything created through the year and they're just fine-tuning now? Just, talking about this big break that they have, and are they actually coming up with new plays?
Face-off plays are interesting, Struds. We always see them like whispering to each other before the face-off. So that I wonder specifically, like, would you come up with specific plays for your opponent, or are there a bunch of standard ones and it's like, which one are we doing?
I think you have to look at your what they're trying to do on the other side, right? And how good the face-off guys are and what's going on. A lot of times when you're talking that moment, you're trying to figure, okay, what are we going to do? Maybe what are my assignments? What do I need to do? But I love the fact that the Oilers have face-off plays, and not every team has face-off plays. I can tell you when I play, I don't think there was one team I had, at least maybe they didn't tell me what it was. I don't think any of us had.
You weren't part of it, bud.
Yeah, and probably you're right.
Your point. Don't bobble it.
Quite honestly, that's probably the truth. Let's be honest. But I love that they have face-off plays because it happens so fast. As a defender, it's hard to react. The one where Connor wins the face-off, goes all the way around to the other side. It goes D to D, then back down to him, and he goes back across. That happens so fast. It's whose guy is who. So I hope they continue to use their face-off plays, and would like to think they have a new wrinkle or two to surprise and maybe catch off guard the other team.
And certainly on the power play, this team is really good at coming up with different looks and new looks. We see just tiny little things here and there where they'll do it and you go, oh, it was set and it was different. They're really good at that for sure. Steve-O.
Okay, good one from Shane Matheson. He says, if this goes 7 games, that's only 7 days to free agency. Who's GMing, and are they talking to their UFAs now, or is that just too distracting? There's not much time for next year. So how do they balance out, this deep run with planning for next year? And
how about a draft sandwiched in between, Struddy?
And if you win, who's going to be sober enough to make any of these decisions? Like honestly,
that's a great point, dude.
Like,
that is such a good point.
I'm gonna sign you. Hold on, I got some whatever, shipwreck rum. I gotta finish off.
You get $5 million, and you get $5 million.
So I think the RFAs are probably. I think those guys, they're not getting it done before July 1st, right? And not that they need to. The UFAs, I'm imagining there's been some conversations with the agents, not so much. Numbers, but hey, this is how we'll deal with it after it's done. Let's talk 2 days after or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, let's do that. And then the draft. I mean, the draft will kind of run itself. Not run itself, but they've already done all that work. So that group will be able to figure it out. To me, it's the free agents you have and who you want to add that I think is a real challenge. And if you want to make any trades, I mean, do they want to trade anybody away? That I don't. Maybe. But I mean, it'd be crazy. You think about it. You could win the Stanley Cup on the Monday, be traded at the draft and or sign with a new team within a week, which
That's
is it's just
insane, man.
Mind blowing, guys.
Like no time to enjoy it before you're just gonzo.
Yeah, so you're still celebrating, and you're just going to pack your stuff up and move to wherever you've signed. Like
this Darnay thing is going to be interesting, bud. It's going to be real interesting.
Well, Vinny, how is this affecting him? How is this playoffs affecting him? I think I mean, we're talking about the best 4 teams left, and it wasn't like he was playing badly.
No, I think he's even or ahead of where he was before the playoffs.
I don't think it hurts his thing, but but the Oilers have to fix. So this is, again, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but Broberg needs a place to play next year.
Yep,
on the Oilers, on the team. So someone has to go. Is it as easy to say
moving over has been a massive development on that front, buddy?
That's for sure. So you can do that. There's no doubt about it. But then Kulak and Ceci both come up, and Ekholm all come up pretty quick here, right? Like, what has Ekholm got? One more year or 2 more years? 2 more, I think, for him. I want to say Kulak has 2 more, and maybe Ceci has 2 more. Like it's, and we're getting a little bit out of.
That's fine, though. I mean,
yeah,
that's okay for those guys to be coming up at that point.
So Ekholm has 2 more, Ceci 1, and Kulak twice. So, do you want to try to sign Vinny for 3-4 years and then trade Ceci to have a little bit more security about what you've got back there? And then if you trade Ceci, is it Darnay's taking his spot or what? Like, there's a lot of decisions to be made here. Can you trade a player? Can you get what, you don't want to have to eat salary. Do you want to buy out Jack Campbell? Like there's so many things to sort out.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually gonna be really exciting. So I hope the Oilers win the Stanley Cup. Then there's so much excitement. Then you got Leon Draisaitl's new contract floating around in the world. But I can't believe that would happen.
Just that little thing there, hey?
And I doubt that would happen July 1st either. Like that's and potentially a new GM. There's a lot coming down.
There's a lot going. We're gonna have to keep podcasting, buddy.
We're
gonna try and take a couple months off, but man, oh man. All right, couple more, Steve, and we gotta get out of here.
Oh man, we got so many good ones. Okay,
blast them off quick.
NHL trade talk, and a few others asking about Sam Gagner. Do you think there's a chance if he doesn't play in the playoffs that the Oilers actually do that thing where they request that his name gets onto the cup? That's what the fans want.
Like that. Yeah, he's been practicing with the team every day. I saw someone did ask that. He's been out there with the group every day. I don't know, Struts.
He's been a great veteran, and I unfortunately for Sam, I have a hard time seeing where he'd get into this series. But I would love to see his name on that cup. I would love to see it. You can see he's posting a lot of positive things about the team, and he's enjoying the ride. And he's such a good guy and such a good teammate. So I would love to see him I'd love to see him get a game, but I'd love to see, if not, get his name on that cup.
And he wants to play next year. I think it was Friedman who mentioned that on his pod. He would be chatting with Sam on an off day, and he wants to try and play again.
Okay, Ro Nelson, one that I like here. Mark Messier said that everyone wants to win the cup, but what matters most is how many of the team needs to win. I thought that was very telling. Who on the Oilers needs to win? In Ro Nelson's opinion, it's the 2 of the best players in the world, Draisaitl and McDavid. So what do you guys think? Who on this team needs to versus just wants to?
Yeah. Connor McDavid needs to win a cup. Like it is written that players of that quality, players of that caliber win Stanley Cups. That is written. Right? Go past all the past players that are in McDavid's caliber, they all win the thing. So what I'm interested is if it happens for McDavid, the weight that maybe comes off of him, because there is a cloud, Struddy. There is a cloud over McDavid. And I'm not saying, that I think it needs to be there, but I believe it's just there until he does this thing. So I would put him first, foremost, and featured on that list.
I would. I think that's fair. But then you have everybody else, right? And like the other day, Joe Pavelski sounds like he's retiring. He was an unbelievable NHLer. And so many people said, it's so bad. Too bad he didn't win the Stanley Cup. Why him? Why? I never understood that. Why is it just him? Like there's been so many players who haven't won Stanley Cups just because he played longer or scored a few more goals. Why is he the guy that should get it? Like and maybe I'm a little bit bitter because I'm like, I would have liked to have won one too. Like all these guys, everyone wants to win one. Like you don't, just because you are, play longer or score more goals doesn't mean you want it more. Like it's you, when you're playing, you burn to play to win that Stanley Cup. So I don't know, man. I always hate when people, he deserved it. Yeah. You don't think everyone worked hard? Everyone is trying to get one.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
So, and Pavelski, I love the way he played, by the way. And it would have been great for him to get one, but I don't think he's any more deserving than anybody else.
Funny one from Penner's Pancakes. He says, just think you can get one ticket in the lower bowl for game 3 or 4, or you can get Edmonton Elks seasons tickets for 20 years. Just a comment on the resale prices of those tickets. Let's finish it off then with Vane Mretsky, who says, hey, Struddy, with the Oilers breaking the puck out the middle, that's going to cause issues and odd man breaks for the Oilers. I welcome a hard forecheck. Oilers will get off-man breaks.
I don't really think they're going up the middle, have they?
Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
I saw a lot of rim pucks against Dallas. So I don't think they've been going in the middle, and I'm not sure why not. Now, if you're talking about throwing it deep, they've been throwing it deep out, like the long just grenade. Or grade's not, but a Hail Mary. But I don't actually think they used the middle of the ice that much at all last series.
All right, that was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Rini Bouclan of Maxwell Devonshire Realty, the Shark of the Park. It's time to wrap up the show with our play of the day, brought to you by Play Alberta. Play Alberta is making things even crazier these playoffs. A deposit with our promo code GYB50 gets you a $50 free bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boosts on every Oiler playoff game. Get a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive suite tickets for an Oiler playoff game just by making a bet on an Oiler playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions will apply. And as always, know your limits and stay within them and play responsibly. Struddy, what do you got today, buddy? What do you think?
What came in really early today when Brownie talked about he's teaching at school. I thought it was back checking and forechecking. Someone said, is he teaching at the School of Irony? That was absolutely a great one. Dropped a bomb on Brownie early.
Steve, do you remember who that was, buddy?
It might have been Obelisk. I wish I could remember.
Yeah, it was. It was Obelisk. That's who it was, yeah.
Good old Obelisk, who has been with us basically from day one here on the stream, snagging. I think that's his first play of the day. Is Brownie teaching at the School of Irony? Love it.
So good.
Okay, Struds. I'll try and survive my journey tomorrow. I'll let you know if I get there in one piece. Media Day on Friday, so there'll be tons of content on tsn.ca and TSN, SportsCenter, YouTube, the whole bit for you to consume. And then we will be back. Our next podcast will be post-game, game number 1, Struddy. You're fired up, buddy. You're so excited. Yeah. You're on fire right now. You're everywhere.
I'm excited for the city. I'm so excited for this city. I want this so bad for Edmonton, right? And just it'd be so good. You can just tell people are dying for it.
Steve, voice of the fan, final word here. How you doing, pal? You losing your shit?
Yeah, you guys might not know how big of a fan I am, but I cried at the end of that last game. My son and I are sorting orange and blue M&Ms before every game. We're having an absolute blast in this house, and I can't wait for the next series.
Wow.
Good.
Oh yeah, it's serious. It's serious. I had to take some time off being a hardcore fan when I was working for the team, which was easy to do when the team was in 30th place the entire right Struts. But
we were.
We're back.
It wasn't much to cheer about.
Awesome. Great job tonight, man. Thank you kindly. Steve, you had extra duties tonight and you killed it, buddy. Thanks. Zuby, go to bed. You're still on the stream watching. Go to bed. Get some freaking sleep. God. You have a constant head cold. Go to sleep, Zuby. Sleep. Goodness sakes. Thanks to our title sponsor, Sherwood Buick GMC. We will talk to you from Florida in a couple of days.